Right, welcome, lockdown workshop. I've managed to do that. Possibly should have cleaned this before I started on this little journey. So it's the new winter bike. If you remember, we tried to put the power meter, the double-sided carbon FSA power meter crank on this, and we were having issues fitting it to this because there appears to be a lip and it sits slightly proud. And everybody says beat the living snot out of it and it'll fit. But what I've actually got is, I'm hoping, is a correct one. So this is supposed to be the push fit that'll fit in there, hopefully, because once I've knocked this out, I'm at the point of no return. I need this bike in 2 weeks time because I've got the last race of the season, and then I've got to try and get another bottom bracket, and then plan B is I run the crank off the Propel, because the Propel's unlikely to be coming out until next summer now, and this will be the winter bike. But I don't really want to use the giant power meter through the winter because it's alloy and it's more modern and better than the FSA one. So anyway, I've got the right one. I think from the research I did that the crank is a Mega Exo 24mm carbon. That's the important bit, carbon. The alloy ones are slightly wider than the carbon ones. So it says specifically on their description specification, this is for aluminium cranksets. The other ones say specifically these are for carbon cranksets. I can't get any more specifications other than that. So I'm only assuming that they're the same as these, because everybody's telling me the alloy ones will fit the thing. So it is literally just a millimetre. Right, one rubber seal. So what do you get in your box? You get a wave washer, which you may or may not need. We get the crankset, which does say 24mm spindle on it. It does, FSA. Yeah, and there should be something that says left and right, left and right. And you get the spacer. They're quite important then. And there's a little rubber seal, but I'm not entirely sure what that's for, because I've never seen one of them before. I suspect it goes on the non-drive side, if I'm guessing. Right, so that's the spacer there. That's that bit. So wave washer and spacer there. And let's put a star there to say that you may or may not need those. So I'm guessing that number 5 is, that's not very helpful. Let's try reading the English side, that might help. Right, it's an MS 150 seal times by 1, so that is the one that goes over there. So that's on this side, which is the drive side. So that goes on the drive side. And then we have got another star next to that one, which I'm not sure what that means. Star BB is compatible with Shimano cranksets and need to add the MS 105 seal. Right. Right, so this definitely looks like it is wider because you have to put an extra spacer in, and that's what this is. And number 7 is an MS 318 spacer times by 1. So, right. Cool. So I think this is narrower. And they're not plastic cups, they are alloy cups. Brilliant. That's really good news. Quite impressed with that. So one thing I didn't look at was compared to the So this is compared to the push fits that we've got in here, which I think are a much wider diameter. Yeah, they are. They wouldn't have fit anyway, because that was my other plan, was to put some adapters in those to take this crank, but I don't need those because that crank isn't the type of crank for this. It is the type of crank for the Holsworth that we had before though. So we'll keep them as in the spares through. This has cost quite a bit of money, this voyage of discovery. I think I've probably blown about £50 in parts, of which I think I'm probably only going to end up using about 23 quid's worth of those parts, but I'm not too fussed. Right, so this is the extractor we bought the other day. We'll do this side first. I don't know how this is going to work. I'm really not 100% convinced this thing's going to actually do anything, especially on a 24mm spindle. I do have an extractor. Right, now does it need to go a little bit further? Because I think I'm up against the bearing, not up against the... There we go. I was right. So we'll get the, you see, let's get you a bit close. I can't believe it, you've just missed it. I thought I pressed start. So I used the new tool, but I think you've just missed it. So just in case you didn't, I'll not know until I start editing this. You put that in there, you pull it through, and what happens is it ends up in there, and then you knock it and it knocks that off, and then you feed it through the other side, you pull it and it pops up against the inside of that ridge, and you do the same thing, you whack it and you knock it out. What we're going to do now is we're going to really thoroughly clean these out. Make sure they are clean, because we've got to make sure that these surfaces are absolutely perfect before we drive the bearings in, so we don't get a snag that causes the cup to sort of canter to one side, because that's when you risk damaging this, and we cannot damage that. We've already seen what happened to the other frame that was fitted by the people who sold it me. Made a mess of it, and then that's it. Your frame's knackered basically, unless you want to ride around with a clunk clunk clunk, or eventually it cracking and failing altogether. So anyway, right, we'll get that cleaned up. So I would normally use brake clean, but I don't have any brake clean down here with me. I normally have I've got a big vat of it up at the garage, and a big spray thing that wazzes it all over the place. I don't really want that in here. But what I might do is I might buy a tin of aerosol brake clean or carb cleaner for down here. I'm just going to inspect that, make sure there's no issues. Feels good. So this is the chain degreaser, because that's all I'm really bothered about, is degreasing it. So I'll put some of that muck off degreaser. I think I've reviewed it before. It's the drivetrain stuff. It's quite acidic. It's very good at stripping crap off your chain and your gears and your everything, so all good. Just feel it with my finger. There's no bad feels. Fortunately, nobody's bonded anything in, because it's a Giant frame. It's been built by Giant. It'll be to their tolerances and specifications, so I'm expecting it to be good. Just be careful when you have got your fingers in here. Because it is carbon fibre, there could be some rough patches on the inside of it. What you don't want to do is lacerate your fingers. And that's okay. Rightio. I just need to get set up with the tooly tool now. I was saying about don't cut your finger, I might have cut my finger. Right, so Now I can do this one or two ways. I can either do it the way that they're showing it, where we drive it in from both sides at the same time, or I can do one side then the other side. I'd probably rather do it in one hit. So what I've got to do is just make sure that I have got the right size. Right, that looks possibly, it's a 24. That's a 24 big one, so that's definitely the right one for that. That sits on the outside of there. That one doesn't, so we've got to find another one for that. That's 25, that's not going to work. Well, potentially that'll do it. The only problem with that is it's not going to centre it, so I'll have to see if we can centre it, because that's a 24, 37, so if we can fit that inside there, that'll do it. We just need to make sure that that stays in there and then that sits over the top, because that can't move. What you don't want is anything articulating around. But the good thing about it is the pressure is going to be on that rim there. You can see it just makes contact with it, and that keeps it in place. I don't think I've got anything else that will do that. I potentially do have another 24 in the other piece, but I don't think I brought it down. I think it's, well, we might have done, did we? No, I think I left that one up at the... Just chucked it in here. Your legs are always in the way, I've noticed this. I do have some plastic ones. Let me just move your legs out of the way. It's kind of trying to work around you. No, I've got another set of bearing insertion cups, plastic ones. Well, I think they're up at the. I think they're up at the other garage. They must be up at the other garage. I can't see them in there. Can't see them there. They're not in there. Right, so let's carry on with this. So we'll give it a go with this. What we need to do is put plenty of grease on this. We'll drive it in. I mean, technically that's okay, because it's on the edge of the bearing. You can see that rim there is on the edge of the bearing, but it's the plastic thing, and I don't really want to crush the plastic thing. So what I'm going to do is to take the pressure off that, is put that over the top of it, and then that is touching that just, but that inner ring will keep it centred. We've just got to make sure that that doesn't walk backwards. Hopefully. Right, let's get you set up back over. Right, grease. So, which is the left and which is the right? That's the left. Just gonna I hope this works. So one of the main reasons of doing this and not just leaving the power meter that's on it is because the power meter that's on it's only single-sided, and because of the operation I've had on my leg, I've had my hips replaced. One of my legs is out of balance, and I'm working on it to try and balance it up, because the neuromuscular's still not recovered properly on the nerve damage. It's more of an issue when I'm running, but when I'm biking as well, I'm overloading one leg slightly. It's not as bad as when I'm running. But it's not good, so part of why I'm making sure I've got a dual-sided power meter on when I'm training is that I can see how and when I'm not getting efficient pedalling and I'm pedalling unevenly and stuff like that. So that's the 24mm one that sits inside there. And that's the 24mm one that's... No, sorry, that's wrong. Wrong. That's the 24mm that we want to put on there. That's the 24mm that we want to put on there. That's going to keep falling out. It's my bar on. It's not doing no idea. The bar's going to look at that. I can see it. That's just a 24, right, so it's quite a good set this actually, to say there's a lot of Chinesium in it. It wasn't that expensive. If you go on eBay and look for these, you'll see loads of them. I can't remember what make it is. It's kind of come in a generic box. But you assemble it all, so it all folds down nice and small. What we'll do is we'll put this one in here, and then we will put that one in there. Hope it stays. Right, so in theory this should just go in nice and easy.
Motion detected at the front door.
Seems to be just going in on one side at the moment. I think that's the drive back. Now the other side's moving. It's not quite in on this side, so obviously the friction's more on this side than it is on this side, because now it's switched to the other side. Right, that's up now. I've just seen the grease squeeze out. So you know when you're there, if you've put your grease in, because you'll see your grease suddenly start to pop out. Do not over tighten it. Right, that's it. So I've got a thin layer of grease that's just popped out there. I hate press fit. I much prefer threaded. You know where you are with threaded. Box, we can tidy that up in a minute. Right, so we've just got to fit the crank now. So this is a bit where the wheels fall off everything. So on the 8 and the 10. No, just the 8. It's the other one that has that. I'm just going to slacken that off. I'm going to pack this full of grease as well. Right. So it says, looking at the instructions for this one, drive side, which is this side, we need number 5 if we are running a Shimano crank, which we are not. We are running an FSA. There is another star there. Add the MS501 seal. That drive side not included. Right, we're not running one of those because we're not running a mountain bike. You're still recording. Yep. Nearly forgot. Grease, 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 grease. I cleaned it all the other day, didn't I? Well, that fits much nicer. I think if you've seen any of the videos where I've tried to fit this to before, I've always had a bit of a battle with it. Right. Just to make sure it's in. They were gentle taps when you start. Right, now it says I will need the seal and a wave washer. Now personally I don't believe that, but we will. I think the best thing I can do is put it on so that we can see what's going on. But what I'll do is I'll switch the bike round so that you can see what I'm doing. Right, we're back in the room. Let me just get you back down there. Right, so the instructions tell me I need number 7 and number 6, which are those two. That's the spacer, that's the wave washer that keeps the tension on. Now, I've never had to fit one of those to an FSA bottom bracket yet, so I'm just going to quickly read these to the bit where it gets to that you might need this. Please note, following assembly installation for cranksets to be installed. If you use FSA Road Mega Exo crankset, no need to add MS150 seal, which is number 5, which is that one, so we're not adding that. You're right, we don't add that. So we are doing a Mega Exo. It is a Mega Exo, we do not need one of those. Follow assembly order for spacer 7, follow the crankset installation. So it will be installed. If using the wave spring washer does not have to be completely compressed for proper use, but does have to be in contact on both sides of the left bearing shield in order to provide correct tension. So, right. Inspect bottom bracket shells correctly. The spacer may be used only on frames with slightly undersized BB shells. So we don't need 7. So that can go in the spares box with all the others of those. So it's saying I only need that. Now personally I don't think I need that because this thing's so flipping tight. But we will find out. I could be wrong. I've never actually fitted one of these in a Mega Exo bottom bracket before, so. The whole point of these is they float more. They move from side to side. Actually, do you know what? Right, so it says as long as I'm touching on both sides, that's fine, which I am. I need to torque it up to, what does it say on there? I'm pulling that silly face again, aren't I? So tell me what on here. For use with Mega Exo cranksets, Mega Exo crankset spindle, cranksets, road. No, there is no thing. So we'll go by normal. What we do is it's about 40 Newton meters. We'll go with that. Not going to be the easiest thing to do up. Oh, it's still going. It's still crushing the crush washer, so we'll find out in a minute. Still got play. Right, so I'm starting to tension it up. It's it's squirting grease out. It is completely, it does say it doesn't need to be crushed as long as it's touching. I'm getting movement and it's not dragging. It's tight, but it's not dragging. There we go. There you go. So all that time, if we'd have just switched to the FSA bottom bracket, we would have had my life a lot easier. Same for the Propel as well. Brilliant. Great. So what we need to do now is we've got to adjust the gears on the other side, because we've got to drop that down. So it might be a good opportunity to have a look at the cabling at the front that I'm not very happy with. But the only concern I've got is I'm going to have to route it all the way through. So I might just leave that until next year. Let me show you. So I don't know if you can see that the light's not brilliant, but that is the front mech cable. You can see it's got a very severe bend on it. So what they've done is they've cut this down and made it too short. So I've either got to extend that one and bring it back out again and then up, or this one here needs replacing. But I've only just done the flipping bar tape on this, so I'm going to leave that. But that should have been longer and come over there and take a more of an arc in. Now what I have noticed though is that the way they've put these in isn't brilliant either. How they've arranged the cables. I would have dropped that one in front of these here, because that's not helping the bend. So I might still do that when I drop that out of there, is pull the cable through and just feed that to the other side so it's in front of those. I think that would be a lot better, because that's not helping. That's pushing on these and it's not giving it a free rein. I did try to get it over, but I think I've got to take the cable out of it. Same with this one. I think this one would have been better going through that gap as well on this side, or possibly no, it comes out the thing there. But so I think that's possibly all right, because you can actually shove that one inside. I think potentially this one's a bit long, so that might want cutting down. I think the problem was it had a different set of bars on and somebody's changed the bars. I might have to see if I can get a set of forks as well. The frame, it's slightly too low. I should have spotted it when I bought it. It's actually, it's quite an aggressive riding position. I actually like it. I felt quite good with it, but I think after a while in winter and on longer rides that I'm going to be doing, I'm not going to be wanting the bars down that far. I can't flip it over either. It's not that kind of bar. It's only got one side. I think it's a Dida. I'm not sure. It's difficult to tell. That's definitely Dida there. So yeah, and the other thing is I'm not sure where I would run the electrics if it had electrics on. I'm assuming they go in there as well. So I think if we can get the cable out and I'll pull that out, it might take some of that pressure off that if I get it over the other side, because that'll take that tightness out there. So we'll do that now. We just need to swing the bike round. So just have a quick look at the crank now actually. Now it's on this side. Actually it's not that bad. It made me wonder what I've put on here now, what I've just taken off. If I can live with that, I don't need to adjust it. Set to completely, what's the crank I took off? Oh, it's over here. Let's have a look. No, it's 52. It's a 52. So look, where that's actually not that bad. I bet that'll actually work. Yeah. That's a lot better now. So probably might even be able to take a link out of it, but I think I'll leave it in case I in case I want to put a bigger ring on here. No, I think that's quite good. These are really good cranks. This is my winter crank. I have abused it. I've taken a few chunks out of the lacquer on it there and there, but the crank itself is absolutely fantastic. Great piece of kit. When they first came out, they were nearly £2,000, and they were one of the first cranks to appear on the Tour de France with a power meter on. I think they were developed and made in sort of mid 2000s. I can't remember. I did look it up the other day and got the history on them. So it's Power2Max, and this was their original crankset that they chuck on the K4 light. So it's quite an old crank, this, but do you know what? It's really nice. It absolutely nails it to the, to the watt with when I run it on the kicker. It's absolutely spot on. So they're really, really, really good crankset. Battery, massive great big battery in there. I've had this battery in probably just over a year. I haven't checked it recently because on the app when you connect it tells you how many things. They came to a bit of disrepute, Power2Max, because they started fitting them to a lot of the top end bikes that you're looking at what is it, an 8, 9, 10 grand bike with a Power2Max. It was the Neo, and it comes disabled. And then you've got to pay a subscription to get the code to enable the power meter. It's like, what's that all about? When you're spending that much on a bike, you'd have thought that they'd have included it with the cost of it. So I think that was a bit thing. You don't see a lot of them now because they are still quite expensive, and obviously power meters coming down now. Pick up a second-hand power meter for 200 quid. I'm going to sell the one for 200 quid. So. Right, just got to get the pedals on this, and then we will. I'm now debating whether to just leave this alone and do that another day when the cables need doing, because it's going to involve setting all this lot up, and it was an absolute pig. And I know the gears are running well. On the Shimano crank anyway. I'll find out. It'll get a better test when I put it on the turbo trainer whether there's any issues, because it is a little bit further away. I do rather like that, because what it does mean is I can switch cranks. I can switch back to a 42 or a 53. I have got some here. I have got a set of what I just spotted missing. Pull it then. I have got a set of SRAM. Is that loose? I've got a set of SRAM rings for this that are 52, 36, which is what I've just taken off. And I did ride yesterday on it, and I've got the 34 cog on the back now. It actually felt okay, so and that's not too bad. We've got a bit of play there, so that's okay. I'm more bothered about when we've dropped down on the little ring, and then we're going down and we're being lazy and we can't be bothered, because I'd normally get to about there. So that's okay. It's a bit wobbly, it's a bit slack, but to be honest, I'll probably be changing about there anyway, because I'm running a lighter crank. So pleased with that. That's a massive worry off now, because I can just relax, and I know this bike's the bike that's going with me, whether or not we stick any mudguards on. I've been looking at the giant mudguards, because there's a mudguard bolt there. There's 2 tiny little grub screws in there for a mudguard bolt, and I think you bolt it in there as well. There's some little mounted screws there for a giant, can't remember what they call it now. There's a name for the giant system that fits on these bikes, and the same on the front. There's a mudguard mounting thread there and there, so you bolt it on there and it goes up to, goes through there, bolts on there, ducks under there, comes out the front. So it's a proper system. Or I use the ones that I've got that are floating around on the floor somewhere. The plastic, they're over there. The ones I usually use. They're quite common. I can't remember the name of them. Blades or something. You'll see them when they go on, because I'll probably do a video winterising the bike and getting it finally ready with mudguards. But that, if it looks like the weather's going to be shit in 2 weeks' time for that Palace to Palace race, I'll probably just do a short and I'll stick them on. It just means I've got to put some heli tape on here just to protect it, because I didn't do it on the Holsworth and it made a bit of a mess of the frame. I did it on the first Holsworth, like the one that we did the turbo for the other day. So the only thing we're left to do now is just stick some pedals on this one. But like a Muppet, I left them on the crank, but they shouldn't be that hard to get off. Yes. Right, so this is the drive side, which is on the left-right side, so there should be, yeah, there we go. Right hand thread. Like I said, I didn't do them up tight because I knew they were coming off. So and we've got the power meter side, so we will sell this power meter now. That hurt. So we can stick that one on eBay or get it, stick it, see if anybody at the club wants it first. Oh, look at that. That was just the edge of the Allen key that caught me then. Houston, we've got a gusher. Come on dogs, give it a break. I'm talking to next door dog now. So I do this one up as if I'm doing it the wrong way, because it's a left hand thread, because it's on the left hand side. Boom, done. Good business. So we'll see how we go on the turbo with that. If we get any bad shifts, we'll drop that down. But I think I did a bit low anyway, I'll be honest. So we'll see how we go with that. So that was a quick and easy one. All we've got to do now is just box up the other one and see if we can get it sold. So jobs are good. So we've got Ultegra on here that we've added, Ultegra on there. We've swapped out the 105, so pretty much we've got that 105. Some of that's gone onto the Holsworth turbo bike. The 105 crank's going to be up for sale. I am keeping an eye out for a group set, and I'll be honest, I might turn to the dark side and go SRAM, ETAP. But having said that though, the fact that I've got all this, it's all interchangeable with the other bike. If I get into emergencies, I can just strip something off one of the other bikes. So it's kind of, it's a bit like that. That's got a massive ding in the wheel, that has. Look at that. I didn't spot that. Maybe this bike has another one there. I'm going to have to keep an eye out for a set of rims for this. Oh, it's that one there. I'll have to... Another one on the other side. Wonder how that's happened. Because it really, you can tell it's not been on the road anywhere. I wonder if that's why he swapped them. That's right, it's my fault for not spotting it. That's quite, I might be able to get that out actually. Very gently. Unless I did it yesterday, but I don't remember hitting anything yesterday that was remotely bangy. That one's alright. I'll probably keep an eye out for a set of the original giant wheels for it. I do prefer them. I'm not entirely convinced with these Marauders. They're making some pretty weird noises yesterday, that front wheel. That's why another reason I don't think it's been on the road. That might have been like that from manufacturing. Or they've done, or it's been banged. I'm just going to have to keep an eye on that because obviously, but I'm running tube, so it's less of a hassle. I'd be more concerned if I was running tubeless. So this is what I'm looking at. There's a slight deviation in the rim there. It's only about 1mm, but I can feel it. So we might have to have a look at that, but not until after the race. It's holding. I know it's holding good. It's not on this part of the rim, which would be more of a worry for me if it was. So yeah, I'll just have to see if I can nudge that out a bit. It's a bit of a nightmare. Bugger. Maybe it wasn't such a cheap bargain. Pretty sure I didn't do that yesterday. No, it's round as well, so I'll have to see how we go with that. Right, okay, let's wrap this one up. Don't forget, like and subscribe. We've finally got this in its correct bottom bracket, and that's running really nice. So just hope it doesn't make any noise now when I next take it out on the road. It'll probably be next weekend. That's my last long ride next weekend. Right, so don't forget, press the buttons down there, like, subscribe. If you want to watch some other videos, there's some up there, and then we'll see how we go. One last gear turn, come on.